Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and happy holidays. We are just about a few days away from Christmas, and this is the holiday edition of Tea with Spirit show. I hope each and every one of you is really enjoying your holiday, your vacations. If you're having to work, find some joy in that as well. But for those of you that are tuning in right now, go ahead and get your tea kettles ready, get your tea bags in your cup. Go ahead and get your soda pop, whatever you're drinking. It doesn't have to be tea. Just go ahead and sit back and relax. Get your snacks, your popcorn, your cookies, whatever, and just sit back and relax. And let's listen to what the tea is from Spirit. So, thank you so much for your support on my channel. The growth over these last couple of weeks has been amazing. I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you. And just know that today I'm going to be covering about 10 different people's questions from all around the world and answering. So if I didn't answer yours, don't worry. You don't have to resubmit it. I have it here, and it will be on the next, when Tea with Spirit show airs again in February. I will continue where, the ones that weren't selected are, are the next ones on the list, because they're going in chronological order as I receive them. And I do receive a lot of requests. So again, if you're new to this channel, please go ahead and hit the red subscribe button as always, and the notification bell icon, so that way you can be notified of any future videos that I do publish. So that being said and done, our first question is coming from Blue Galaxies, and Blue Galaxies says, "Hello Raymond, I hope you are well. I have recently been feeling off track with life. I'm thinking of going to college next year, but I'm not sure if what I'm thinking of pursuing is the right life path for me, or just a whim. I have been so lost, and I have given up hope for any future success, and would like to ask Spirit if what I'm thinking of pursuing is the right path. Thank you." Well, the first thing that I get from you, Blue Galaxies, is that you're someone that's very, very different than most people. You're almost like someone that wears a lot of different hats. You're talented in different areas, but one certain career is not going to do it for you. You like to kind of do different things, and that's the reason that you're getting kind of bored right now where you're at right now in life. One particular area that you would be in is not going to be where you would necessarily focus on in the future. With you, oddly enough, I get a lot of creative side, so I see a lot of artistic side to you. So anything in the arts or communication would be something that Spirit is showing me that would be almost like the right path for you. But anything that you do, anything that you're guided to, regardless if it's not in the arts or communication field, it would be definitely something that is good for you, and you'll make it your own. But ideally, that's the path that I'm being shown, something where you're not constantly like inside of an office or inside confined into one particular space. You need your creativity. You need to sometimes work from home. This is going to be what Spirit is showing me. So I feel like you are definitely on the right track. When I tune in, Spirit does show me an ending. So there is definitely an ending and new beginnings for you in the new year. So you're definitely on the right track, and you need not to really doubt yourself right now. More than anything, do not doubt yourself. And you do have this new ideas that are coming to you. I feel like there's going to be a lot more creativity that comes in 2019 with this, that's going to open up some new skill sets that maybe you haven't tapped into in your life, whether it's like learning how to paint something, or learning how to creatively express yourself, writing, a blog or something. But this is what I kind of see for you in 2019. I do feel like there is definitely some periods here where you are going deep within, and the universe is allowing you and pushing you to do that, because you really have to consider and ask yourself, is this something that you can really invest time? Because going to school is something that is very major. And even going to school, you could find that you get easily bored. So again, you're going to have to ask yourself, is this something that you're going to want to do? But ultimately, Spirit is showing me that you are going to march ahead with your decisions, and not to second guess yourself. because you've done that, for quite some time already. So it's the next step for you. So this is what I am seeing from Spirit regarding your question. I want to thank you so much for submitting that, and blessings and happy holidays and a happy new year to you. All right, our next question is coming from Gemini Girl, and she says, "Hello, Raymond. If I may, I would like to ask Spirit a question, please. Can you please tell me when I will find my soulmate?" Thank you so much for taking the time to read my question. Well, thank you so much for submitting it, Gemini Girl. And so what I get with you right now is that you really are thinking that perhaps love is beyond your confines, like you're never going to truly be happy. And this is something that I see typically with a lot of clients when I do read for them, because believe it or not, a lot of people, this is the main pressing question, even for myself. I have that too because I am single, and that's the question a lot of people want to know, when they're going to find their soulmate or when they're going to be with someone. And that is a very pressing question that many people, people want to find love, and it's so hard in the vibration, in the dimension that we're living in right now. We're in a 4D, 5D type of transition, and so a lot of people are still living in the third dimension of consciousness, meaning that their spiritual awareness and being awakened is definitely not at the level that it needs to be, and that creates a setback. So with you, what I'm seeing is that Spirit is saying that you could meet someone this year in 2019, within the next 4 to 5 months, if you're open to it. However, I feel like, apart from what Spirit is showing me, that it's going to be quite some time still before you meet an actual soulmate. And I'll tell you the reason why. They're showing me that there's a lot of pull going back and forth with someone. So I don't know if you still have emotions tied to someone, but that's the way it's coming in from Spirit. You haven't fully released those pains, the pain that and the hurt that has, latched onto your heart space. So a lot of you out there are, for you in particular, Gemini Girl, what I get is that you would be holding on to that, and Spirit is wanting you to release it. There are some feelings of maybe some anger, resentment towards your ex, or the last person you were in a relationship with. So Spirit is definitely saying that you need to go forward and release that before anyone can come in. I also feel like career-wise, you're going to be going through some changes, because it's all about money in 2019 for you. You have an ambition, a drive for money and success, and that's going to be more of what takes precedence than your love life. However, there is a part of you that needs to, that is going to be cutting off like the old part of you, the old thoughts and the whole process. So you're going through essentially like a transformation spiritually and emotionally, and it's not going to be easy. I'm not someone that sits here and paints a pretty picture, because love, in when you're dealing with love and anything with the heart space, it's not always, especially if you have to heal, it's not an easy process. It's not something that you can go into therapy and it just overnight, you come out of that session and you're fine. But for you, it's going to be a lot of inner work, releasing old thoughts and not, giving ideas, not feeding, those negative thoughts, and thinking that perhaps, the guy that you would meet or the person you would meet next is going to be just like your ex, but releasing any kind of fear attached to you, because that kind of bonds you. It's like a bondage, in many ways, a spiritual bondage, and it's not good. It's not healthy. So again, you're going to have to definitely release that. There is a male that, like I said, this year has a potential. I feel he's very outdoorsman, maybe likes hunting, likes, to be outdoors a lot, a very, well-rounded person, knows how to do different things, like a handyman, but he's not a handyman, of course, but that's the kind of energy that I'm getting. And yes, I do show that there is love on the horizon for you. But again, timelines are very hard to give. Like I tell people, when I tell clients, when they ask for a specific timeline, I've been very successful in giving timelines, to people, and they come to fruition. Then there's some people that the timelines that I give, are a little bit later, than what I have given. And the reason for that, and I explain, is because when we give a timeline, nothing is written in stone. The future is not written in stone, and it can be changed by our free will. So anything that you do between this reading, today, and in 2019 can fluctuate, that it can accelerate things to happen sooner, or it can push it further away. But really and truly, if you've been not dating, or you've been out of the dating scene, and you haven't really been socializing or going out, those are the things that need to change completely, because I feel like in many ways, again, your work life is your main focus right now. So again, before you can find love, Spirit is saying that you're going to have to really shift some priorities around release. It's all about releasing old pains, old past hurts, so that way you can allow new love to come into your life. When I talk about releasing, how do you release that? I think a lot of people want to know, well, how do you release old pains? Basically, there's many ways that you can do it. One is to write it out on a sheet of paper. Write a letter to yourself or to that person that hurt you, and put all your feelings and your emotions into that letter. Like, if pretend like you were if you were having a conversation face to face, what would you tell that person? If you could be uninhibited and not, filtered, what would you say to them to let them know how they made you feel, or what they did to you, and how it affected you? This is one efficient way of, getting it out of your body and onto the paper, which is like getting it out into the universe. And what I suggest is for you to burn that paper after you write it, that letter, fold it up and burn it. And then you can take the ashes and throw it outside, on the ground, to kind of release it back into the earth, where it belongs. Other people, it's, could be going with a Reiki healer, or a shaman, and getting some kind of healing to release those emotions. For some people, it's just self-love, loving yourself unconditionally every day, reminding yourself, speaking positive mantras, going out shopping, doing things that you really enjoy. And these are the things that can lead to releasing and helping to release. And being in touch with your feelings. A lot of people suppress crying. They don't want to cry. They think it's a weakness, but it's actually a strength if you're able to cry and release it. So allow yourself to go through these emotions. Allow yourself to feel the pain that you have endured, because a lot of it is purging, and that's part of the healing process. And I think a lot of people that would be listening can relate to this. At one time or another, they have cried, they have released, and they didn't understand why they were crying. But after they cry, or release it, they feel much better. And that's kind of the case with you, Gemini girl, that you will need to release all of this, so that way you can get closure. So I wish you the best in 2019. Thank you so much for submitting your question. Okay, our next question is coming from Josie, and Josie says, I am loving tea time and Tea with Spirit show, and thought I would put in a question. Can't wait to listen to tonight's episode. I keep seeing 123 or 132 when I check the time during the day on my phone. Sometimes I wake up at night and it's 123 or 132. What does it mean when myself or someone else keeps seeing the same numbers? Okay, so this is a very good question, Josie. Thank you so much for submitting it. There's a lot of information. There's this website called Jones Scribes, and she has terrific information of a lot of angel numbers, but I'm not going to go off of that website. I'm going to give you exactly what I get from angel numbers, because there's a lot of different sources online that you could find the meaning to 123 or 132. These are very specific numbers, and what I get from Spirit intuitively is that you're going through changes, first of all, in your life and transformation. And I am getting that, I don't know if lately you've been hearing ringing in one of your ears, as I keep hearing ringing as I read your question before I came on to the presentation, this show, to read it. I kept reading it, and I kept hearing a ringing out of my right ear. So you're being called by Spirit and by your angels to on a new path and a new journey for you. Could be more centered around your career and your finances, and I feel like things are going to get better. But Spirit is saying, if it's 123 and 132, it's a sequence of numbers, and what 123 is, like, one thing needs to happen before another thing can happen. That's kind of what the vibe that I'm getting from Spirit, and the message that I'm getting is that before you can go on to your future projects or things that you have lined up, things that you're wanting to do financially to improve yourself or bring that income in, you will need to complete one thing first, because I feel like you're the type of person that you get involved in different projects, different things, and sometimes you leave the other ones behind without finishing altogether. This may not be the case all the time. It may not be true for every single moment of your life, but right now I feel like there's a lot of the chaotic energy, a lot of stress to get things done, something with a property as well, and getting that sold, or something with money that I'm getting. But Spirit is definitely saying that there is that you have to follow a certain sequence, and 1 2 3 is a very powerful number. So it's like you have to get through one thing before you can get to the other. But there's that is what I'm getting, and the reversal of that, which is one, instead of it being 3 2 1, it's 1 3 2. It's almost like it's saying that you could go in two different directions in what you're wanting to do. You could go in a sequential order of completing one thing before getting to the other, or you could jump to the number 3 after completing one. You could jump to the third option that you have, or the third thing goal that you have, and then you could complete. So Spirit is basically saying that there's really no particular order that you can do things. They're trying to use these numbers to really tell you and explain to you that there's a different way you can do things in different ways or in different orders to get it done. You don't have to follow necessarily a certain path. It would just know that every path leads you to one focal point in one area of completion. It basically all leads to one meeting point, and that is you reaching your goals, and you're going to reach them. So it's a very positive number. Also, when you get that, it is a sign that your angels and your ascended masters are working with you. Ascended masters are teachers who have mastered living here on earth many times, and in the spiritual realm they have acclimated to a position of helping humanity here on earth, and they're usually assigned to different people who have important missions here on earth to complete. So for you, it's a very exciting time. And if you are seeing any other, I feel like you are going to start seeing other numbers other than 1 2 3, 1 3 2, and I feel like you're more aligned. So thank you so much for submitting this question. I hope it did help you. Blessings and love and light, and let's get on to the next one. All right. The next question is from Anonymous, and it says, I had a very rough patch. I felt very alone, and it was a horrendous time financially. I felt so bad. I know I now feel stronger and accept the situation I'm in, and I'm looking forward to moving on. I have the optimism that I will rise from it. Do you see me coming out of this? The answer to that is yes, I do. I do feel like you will come out of it, but you're going to have moments where you're going to rebound. You're going to fall back into that thought process, and that's just who you are. You have a very caring heart, a very beautiful heart, a very nurturing personality, and you care about everyone. And I do feel essentially that you have put everyone before yourself, and Spirit is wanting you to know that you're going to rise from this, but you need to start putting yourself first before anything. And you really need to start thinking outside the box. I feel like you kind of have been in your comfort zone with your finances, your career, whatever you do, you've been sticking to that, but I don't find that you're truly happy with your life right now in that particular area. So you're going to have to start to brainstorm and needing to kind of branch out of your comfort zone. Anything that makes you feel uncomfortable is going to bring you growth, and is going to set you in the right trajectory towards what you're needing right now, which is to feel a little bit better spiritually and emotionally, not just financially, because I know that your focus is on your finances, but I don't feel like your emotional and spiritual well-being are good right now. There's a lot of worries, and you're worrying yourself to the point where your health is going to get affected if you're not careful. This is going to raise your stress levels, your cortisone, so you could see things like weight issues happening, upset stomachs, abdominal issues, it's going to start affecting a lot of your nervous system. So again, I do feel like you would be prone to panic attacks or anxiety attacks if you're not careful. You need to ground yourself, maybe carry some hematite. If not hematite, there's other, ways to ground. Also, tiger's eye is a very good stone to carry for people who worry a lot with your energy. I get a lot of worry, so this is definitely going to be something that is good for you and that will help you. So yes, the answer is yes, and I do feel like once we hit 2019, right around, I want to say right around June, May or June, towards like the end of May and June, you're going to feel a little bit better, and you're going to start seeing that things are changing and shifting a lot for you. So I'm giving you big angel hugs, and I want to thank you so much for submitting your question. All right, so next question, this is, let me see, the fourth question is coming from Lola. And Lola says, hi, Ray. A few weeks ago in your Aquarius horoscope, you said that there would be a woman, a spiritual teacher, who would be able to help with the situation with my supervisor. I had a short meeting with a shamanic practitioner, and the techniques she gave me were definitely helped, and I feel physically better. My supervisor likes to bully one person at a time, and this year it has been me. I try to do Reiki to break the energetic ties and light candles, but the shaman's advice helped. I was wondering if it will make a lasting impact, and if you have any further advice with the situation. Wow. So thank you so much for submitting this question, Lola. This is very interesting. The fact that you are very stressed out by your supervisor and that you're being targeted. My question to you and the question from Spirit is, what are you doing there? Like, if your supervisor is bullying you and you're unhappy, I know it's not always easy to move on, but the situation is not going to get better. I'm just being very honest here. I feel like she has her period. This person has their periods of where they bully people, and I feel like, it's going to continue, even though it may not, in 2019, this person would have, their tendency to move on to the next person and bully them. It's going to continue to happen. And I feel it's a very toxic, this person is very toxic. They don't take any kind of accountability. They want to really just nitpick and kind of be petty in many ways. And I feel like there's a lot of gossip as well. They maybe mingle with gossip with other people, other employees or coworkers. So it's definitely not a good situation at all for you, hun. You are going to need to look into getting a new job, maybe moving on from it. What the shaman has done and what, the spiritual techniques that you have learned to use for protection are more temporarily. They're temporary band-aids to the situation. But no matter how much protection that we have to kind of reach that point where we realize that this situation is toxic. It's not good for us. I'm speaking from experience. I used to work with someone that was just like that, and it was so draining. And the only way that I found peace was when I left that job and I resigned. And it wasn't because I was being bullied. It was because I had enough and I knew my self-worth, and it was affecting my health as well. So with you, I'm just hoping that, you find that, even though you are comfortable in the position, in that you are comfortable doing what you're doing, the situation with your supervisor is not going to get better. And I do feel like, this is something that you've thought about maybe moving, but you hold back because there's some fears that you are holding on to. And Spirit is saying to release those fears 100%, because the longer that you hold on to them, like I said, it's not going to help your situation in moving on from this. It's just going to continue to create a stagnation and create this these issues that you are experiencing. And I feel like there is some fear of your supervisor. Like, you do fear them, even though you are powerful in many ways. They kind of steal your power and drain you. This is a classic of an energy vampire. So again, continue to do the cleansings, continue to do the spiritual protection, but at the same time, as you go into 2019, start considering your options, updating your resume, putting yourself out there to find a new job. I feel like if you were to do that, you would find something, and it would be much better environment for you. But to continue to live like this, it's not a good situation for you. So I'm just keeping it real, keeping it very honest, and that's the tea from Spirit. So thank you so much again, Lola, for submitting that question. Okay, so I have the next one is from NDA. And shalom from Israel, Raymond. It says here, love watching your channel. every morning and night before bed. Oh, thank you so much, sweetie. And she says, more grease to your elbow, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to ask direct questions. Um, and it says, right now, what does the universe hold for me? I just feel stuck, don't know the right direction of my future due to family responsibilities. Um, expecting to hear from Spirit. So for you, NDA, what Spirit is showing me and what they're telling me right now is that there are issues with your love life. I'm getting that there is definitely, even though you didn't come out and say it, getting love life and matters of the heart. You feel very stuck in that area. I know that you feel like it's more about, maybe career opportunities or different areas, but what I get is that there's something going on with your heart space. I feel like you maybe are not happy in that area, and I keep hearing marriage, or there's this pressure, and also that you have been maybe, taking care of children, taking care of family members. It's very draining. Not that you don't enjoy doing it, but I feel like you want to have more independence, whether this is financial independence or more of a creative independence. And you're going to find that also Spirit is talking about a male who is in spirit. This would be someone that has passed on. And I do get that he is with you. This feels almost like an older gentleman that would have passed. So I don't know if this is like a father figure or a grandfather, but that's the way it's coming through. And he did have very defined cheekbones, and I'm getting something about birds as well with this person. That is the way that he comes through and giving signs to family members. So when you see like birds out there, you will find that his spirit is connecting with you. You feel like maybe like you are alone, and many times very lonely. That's the kind of spirit that I'm getting. But the guy that's in spirit, he has a beard as well, facial hair, and he wore like a white. I don't know if it's like what you call that, like a veil, not a veil, but like a cap, but it's white over his head as well. And that's the way he's coming through. And he's saying that basically you're not alone. Things are going to improve for you, but it's a matter of you just realizing and taking one thing at a time and kind of learning to say no to people and really focusing more on yourself. Because I feel like you have that problem of saying no when you're asked by your family or, people, your friends, to do things, and you go out of your way to do it. But really and truly, you need that. And then also, there's something about traveling. So I keep seeing that there would be some travel for you. You're needing to get outside of your environment, even if it's to another city close by to you, but you need to get out of that area, and you really need to start traveling a little bit more, because I feel like there's a lot of stagnation, like I said, where you're at right now. Things are going to come together for you, but don't put too much focus on the negatives. Focus on the positives that are definitely happening in your life right now, and things are definitely going to change for the better. You're going to see that shift here soon. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in and for submitting your question. I'm going to go on to the next question here. All right, so the next question is coming from Canna Texan. It says, hi Raymond, love your YouTube channel. I am Canadian, married to an American, living in Texas. Just wondering if I will ever be living in Canada again. Thank you so much, Canna Texan. And so it's a very good question. What I get from you, from your soul, is that no, you're going to stay here in the United States. You may eventually go back for a couple of weeks or visit, but I don't see a permanent move. And I feel like there's a reason for that. Even though you may love your country and you love, being there, right now you're being where you're needing to be. And that's what's coming from Spirit very strongly. So, yeah, this is where you're going to be, is what I get. This is where you're going to be. So I want to thank you once again for submitting that question. Wishing you a happy holidays. Thank you once again. All right, our next question is coming from Concern Texas. Concern TX, And it says, hello, Raymond. I have several questions, but one that has been truly heavily in my heart is about my husband's job situation. For the last few years, my husband has only been landing temporary contract jobs, which I truly appreciate any job because of the layoffs. It has caused friction between our relationship, emotionally and financially. I have seen him distance himself. Will he ever get a job that can gain stability with again? Also, what happens to us? I feel like we have been distant from each other and that I'm starting to doubt our future together. Well, thank you so much, first of all, Concern Texas TX, for submitting this question to me. And my heart goes out to you and anyone in your situation, because there's a lot of families, especially when, like here in Texas, when the oil field kind of like crashed and things weren't going well, it caused a lot of people to be laid off. A lot of people who were making good money to support their families. A lot of these men were and women lost their jobs in the oil field, and so they had to go to different areas, sell their homes. There was a lot of that going on. So I don't know if he's ever considered the oil field, or this is in the area that he is in. But what I'm getting from Spirit directly is that yes, he will be finding something, but it will have to be outside of that what he does. Maybe something a little bit different that is still kind of labor intensive in many ways. And I do feel like there's a turning point, but for him, he's very stubborn. He doesn't listen. I feel like he doesn't want to do anything different outside of what he knows, and what he's done for years. So it's going to be hard. Like I said, you can't make somebody change overnight if they don't want to change, and that's the stubbornness that I get. And I feel like he is aware of the issues in your marriage and your relationship. He is aware of that. He knows exactly what's going on. He can see it. But when y'all are both stressed, I feel like many times you kind of can also have these strong conversations, and your words at the time when there's a heated situation can come across to him as very judging, and the same thing with him. They can come across to you very hurtful. So there's a need to find a balance in communication and compromise here. Even yourself, I feel like if you were to maybe kind of help him, just putting that out there, looking for something that would be kind of along his lines of what he wants to do, and him applying, he would be able to get that job that he needs. But for right now, there's a lot of different things that are going to be happening financially. 2019, I feel like, is going to be a little challenging financially, and I'm not, going to sit here and sugarcoat it. But I do feel like there are some financial struggles ahead for 2019. Right around 2020 is when, or the end of 2019, around November, December, is when things start getting better. But he needs to have a wake-up call. I also feel like there's some strong as I'm getting from Spirit, there's some things that he does to cope with his own stress. This could be drinking, or smoking. These are things, again, that are very unhealthy habits to cope with whatever he's feeling, and that needs to stop, because it's going to affect his health to the point where he could have a health scare within the next 2 to 3 years if he's not careful. So again, this is coming from Spirit. This is something that he needs to take very seriously. But yes, I do feel eventually he is going to transition into something that is more permanent, and that will help. As far as what your marriage is concerned, your relationship, that can be healed. But I feel like also, again, your love is stronger than anything, and love can change anything and make it, better and heal. But for right now, I feel like, the main thing is definitely the financial aspect. And once that's together, that, and he feels like he's more whole and complete financially, it's going to change things. I also feel like you're both in need as well. Like I told the other person just a few minutes ago on the show, you're needing to get out of your space. I don't know if y'all have taken a family vacation together, or you've traveled somewhere. I know financially you're struggling right now, so it's like that's probably out of the question. But if you could take like a road trip, to the next city near you for the weekend, and just kind of sightsee. I feel like you need to get outside of your environment. You also need to sage your space. You need to work with a citrine crystal, and a green candle. And the reason for the green candle is because that's for abundance. There's also a new desert plant that I've been working with and really giving that advice to my clients. It's called the Rose of Jericho. So I really suggest that you kind of invest in that. You can order it on Amazon or through Etsy. And basically, it's a desert plant, and you put it in a bowl with a little bit of water, and you kind of have to water it like once every a week and a half or so as the water levels go down. But it opens up, and it's a plant of prosperity and abundance, and you can put some money on top of it, like coins, maybe like a dollar bill. Um, and you may want to change out the water ever so often, not just add some fresh water, but kind of change it out once in a while. But yeah, definitely things are going to definitely change for y'all. And like I said, timelines can fluctuate, so don't get afraid or think that because I gave you a certain timeline right now that it cannot be changed, because and nothing is written in stone. Your free will can change things. The sooner the better. But definitely this is what I'm seeing. I want to thank you so much for tuning in and for submitting your question. And so we're going to answer the next one. All right, our next question is coming from Kimberly. And Kimberly says, Dear Raymond, I'm not happy at my current job. I feel like I'm getting underpaid, and I'm currently surrounded by people in my company who seem envious, jealous of me. They passive aggressively try to bully me or let it be known I'm excluded. I walk into work with a lot of anxiety every day. I'm not sure what I should do. I'm afraid to leave the job because I just graduated and I don't have much experience and I don't have enough savings to survive without a job. I try my best to keep my head down, but I find that I take things way too personal. Should I just up and quit? Is there any type of success in my future? Thank you for this amazing show. Sincerely, Kimberly. So this is coming from Kimberly, and Kimberly, what I have to say for you, dear, is that it's going to get better, but yes, you do need to start considering on finding a new job. It's not going to get better. I feel like these people are very toxic. I've seen it time and time again. I've lived through it, so I can relate to you 100%. And for me, it was not easy dealing with some older women in an office being the only male, and I didn't have a problem working around women because I get along with anyone. But I worked in a situation that was very toxic in a home health situation, and it was just very petty. A lot of immature behaviors from people that are older, and you would expect them to know better, but again, you can't change them. I feel like they are intimidated by your ability, and I feel like you are someone that is more going to embark on a spiritual path and journey eventually. I feel like this is not your calling where you're at, what you're doing right now, even though you may have graduated and have gone into this, but I feel like you're going to take the knowledge that you had over the next 5 years, and it's going to transform you, and you're going to go into a new different direction, possibly a new career, and more spiritual in nature as well, helping and healing people. So I don't know if you're in the medical field, because I keep seeing and hearing medical field, healthcare, anything in the healthcare field. But I feel like you're going to help people on a certain level. You're going to definitely go in that route, and it's going to involve some spirituality and you kind of finding your zone, your zen spot. What you're needing to do right now is to really focus on submitting your resume, going on interviews while you're still employed, and securing a job. Because even though you may be telling yourself this, that you just graduated, you don't have the experience, a lot of companies don't care. They will go with someone that just got their degree or graduated, and that they can train. So definitely you need to consider looking for a job while you are still employed. This is how I transitioned out of my job when I left it, that toxic job. I basically was interviewing on my lunch breaks, and I let them know that I was still employed, or I would do it, I would usually do it during my lunch breaks. So I got an hour lunch. So kind of, take your time, kind of really reach out and let them know when they offer you an interview, because I do feel like you're going to have several interviews in 2019. Basically, consider where your your lunch hour and when or a days off that you could take. Like during your vacation is another time a lot of people transition. They take their vacation, and during that time they have a lot of time to apply and interview the weeks before their vacation. So kind of, use a lot of your intuition. You're very intuitive as well, to kind of guide you and get you into the right direction of where you need to be. And I feel like you will find that right job that is much better for you and less stress-free from a lot of this negativity. So big angel hugs to you and blessings, and that's the tea from Spirit for you, Kimberly. Thank you again. Okay, our next question is coming from Mr. Fritz, and Mr. Fritz says, "Hi Raymond, I was hoping I could change my Tea with Spirit question. I was blessed to have a reading with you, and you answered the question for me already. I was so shocked the information that you provided me in my reading. Everything was spot on. Thank you for sharing your special gift from God with us. So my question is, my nephew and niece has a cute Shih Tzu dog. I don't know if I pronounced that right. That she adopted from her aunt that was sick with Alzheimer's disease. Now, Mr. Fritz, the dog, was living with my niece's family who had other dogs in their homes, in the home, until they got married 5 months ago. He is alone a lot while they work. He lives in a beautiful, very clean new home and is well cared for. Mr. Fritz has a problem, especially early morning. Only sometimes he acts so mean he attacks, growls, and bites them, even when they are sleeping in bed. They both treat him with pure love, and most of the time he is a loving, friendly animal. He is breaking their hearts. They are trying to start a family and are worried about him near their baby. I hope and pray that you and Spirit has a solution for healing Mr. Fritz. Do you and Spirit feel Mr. Fritz will be okay with the baby? Would a healer help in the situation? Would you be able to provide me with a name of the healer, of a healer for dogs that could help him? We all love Mr. Fritz, and it's so scary when he personally changes. Thank you so much. Love and light, Mr. Fritz." All right, so thank you so much for submitting that question. There's a lot that's going on with the dog, and I do feel like he is a good dog in many ways, but I feel like he will be fine. Having a child around a baby is going to be fine. I don't feel like it would attack. I do feel like the dog does need to be outside, though. I don't know if they have it more inside. Like you said, I feel like it's inside, but it needs to be outside. I feel like it needs, that's the way it's reacting. It feels confined. The spirit of the dog feels confined. It needs to go out, and they need to do walks with the dog. If they haven't walked him around the neighborhood or walked him around, he needs to get fresh air. Maybe take him in the vehicle, take him to a park and walk around with him. He needs some freedom. Maybe play date with another dog. He needs to have other friends other than, the dogs that he's around all the time. That's kind of what I'm getting. Also, I would suggest to get like a collar that has where you can attach a crystal, like a small piece of jade, a green one, and have it around the collar, because that's going to be for healing, and it's going to promote healing and bring a lot of inner peace for the puppy. I don't feel like there's something psychologically wrong with the dog. I feel like it's very stable and, like I said, sweet and loving, but it has its moments, and I think it's also very sensitive to energy. So if people are coming into the home and that are very stressed, it's going to pick up on those emotions, and I do feel like they need to cleanse themselves in the house. So maybe some saging would help as well, but they definitely need to consider putting some jade on the dog, a jade crystal. Again, it's like a green jade is what you're needing to look for the dog. Also, the way that the house is set up with the furniture, look into feng shui and for the house and how the energy is set up. I feel like there's a lot of clutter in certain places, things that need to be kind of removed. Look for that, and anything that's antique that you've bought at a garage sale, or that they bought in a garage sale, or any antique store, they need to sage those items. In particular, if you keep hearing lamp, so I don't know if there was like an old antique lamp, those oil lamps, those old-fashioned that are with kerosene. but I don't know if they have one in the house. But there definitely needs to be some changes in that area. But other than that, I want to thank you so much for submitting that question. Big angel hugs to them, Mr. Fritz. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So thank you so much for submitting your questions. Like I said, this is the wrap up for the Tea with Spirit show. This was the holiday edition. I'm wishing you nothing but a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If you have any questions still that well, one question per person. Send me that one question to my email address, which is raymondguzman@hotmail.com. In the subject line of the email, put Tea with Spirit show, and then the body of your email, ask your specific question, and then include an alias, because I don't read people's real names on the show. So please include an alias or put anonymous if you don't want to include an alias, name. So those of you that have received a reading from me on this show and that may need more clarity, you can go to my website. It's listed here on the screen. It's www.raymondguzman.net/shop. You can use promo code HOLIDAYS. That's capital H and then all lowercase OLIDAYS. That gives you 10% off of any reading on my shop until it's valid until December 31st, 2018. So take advantage of that. If you need to get more clarity, or any of you listening that would like to get your own private reading, you can use that promo code as well. Also, be sure to pick up a copy of my book. It's called Starseed Footsteps. It is out now on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's a hardback cover. It includes everything from spiritual topics, things that I may not have talked about here on the show. What happens to when we die, what happens to souls, hauntings, crystals breaking, healing, twin flames, and the list goes on and on and on. If you like an autograph copy, you can get that off of my website, and it's www.raymondguzman.net/shop, and it is there. And be sure to check out my playlist. I have a lot of spiritual videos, celebrity psychic readings, readings for people that have gone missing, people that whose cases that have been ruled as one way of death and it turns out to be something else. So very, very excited about what 2019 holds. And again, Tea with Spirit show will be resuming around the early February, so stay tuned for more details. And the giveaway, I am holding a giveaway which ends on December 31st, and the winners are going to be announced on January 5th. So if you have not yet entered, you can go to my here on YouTube, go to the community tab. It's on my page. If you go to my page here on YouTube, you can see the community tab, and it's a post that says giveaway. And basically you just need to be subscribed to my channel to enter, and you need to answer the question, which is providing your favorite Christmas memory. Don't comment here on this video below with that. It needs to be done on that post, on the community post, which is on my page, on the YouTube page. So again, it's there, and basically I'm giving away 2 free psychic readings to 2 subscribers. Since I am 10,000, I have 10,000 plus subscribers now. This was my token of appreciation and way of saying thank you to each and every one of you. So again, biggest hugs, and stay warm, stay comfortable, and stay in love. Blessings and love and light.